After the 5-2 win against West Ham, we were accused of being negative and trying to find reasons to complain even after such a big scoreline at Anfield. But nights like this are exactly why we felt that way. This loss against 20th place Wolverhampton Wanderers shows why we were not fully convinced by what we saw against the Hammers. The result looked great, but the performance raised a lot of concerns, and those concerns showed up again in this game. Now, we have wasted a huge opportunity to close the gap to the Champions League spots. Aston Villa and Chelsea are facing each other, while Manchester United have to travel to Newcastle. That means points are going to be dropped somewhere. This was the perfect moment for us to take the advantage and put the real pressure on the teams around us. Instead, we did the opposite and handed away 3 points against the team sitting at the very bottom of the table. As for last night's game, it was a disaster from start to finish. The first 60 to 70 minutes were honestly a snooze fest. There was almost no energy, no urgency, and very little quality on the ball. Then the final part of the match turned into pure chaos. Suddenly the game opened up and everything became messy. We had no control at all, and it felt like the match could swing either way at any moment. And even in that chaotic period, Wolves still looked like the more dangerous team. They were the ones who looked more likely to score. If it was not for the mistake from their player, Salah probably never scores or even gets the chance to equalise. Now, enough with that. If you want to understand why our performance, especially on the ball, looked so poor yesterday, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. In this video, we are going to be breaking it all down and explain exactly what went wrong. If you watched the game, you probably had only one word in your mind, especially after the first half: boring. That really sums it up. Our performance was simply boring. And the reason behind it, as strange as it may sound, was Florian Vertz's absence. It might sound simple, maybe even a bit stupid at first. After all, it's not like we were playing amazing or breathtaking football when he was available either. That is true. But if you go back and watch the game again, you'll start to notice what we mean and why his absence made such a big difference. Of course, we don't expect anyone to sit through the first half again just to see it. We don't want to torture you. So instead, we picked one single sequence from the first half that pretty much sums up the whole problem and shows exactly what we are talking about. The sequence starts with us slowly circulating the ball. Konate passes to Szoboszlai, who takes a few too many touches before eventually playing the ball backwards. Up to this point, there is actually no real issue. When the opposition is sitting deep and staying compact, it is normal to begin by slowly circulating possession. Sometimes you need to take extra touches to try to invite a bit of pressure. Doing that can also give your teammates time to move into better positions and find open spaces. As the ball moves around, small gaps can start to appear in the opposition's shape. The real problem starts to show right here though. When Szoboszlai decides to play the ball backwards, you can already see where things begin to break down. Look at the distance between him and his nearest teammates. There is no close option for him to combine with. With no players nearby, you simply cannot play quick combinations. And when there are no combinations, it becomes almost impossible to change the rhythm or shift the tempo of the attack. Everything becomes slow and predictable, which makes it very easy for the opposition to stay organized. Eventually, we managed to shift the play out wide, and from that moment on, you can immediately see that we were capable of increasing the tempo. Van Dijk plays the pass to find Kerkez on the left side. The left back takes one touch, quickly plays the ball forward, and then makes a run up the pitch. At the same time, Gakpo takes one touch, drives at his defender, and then releases Kerkez with a pass into the space behind. Kerkez then gets to the ball and puts the cross into the box. That quick change in tempo is exactly what helped us move up the pitch. We went from slow ball circulation to quick combinations on the wing, followed by a run in behind the defense. That small burst of speed in our play is what allowed us to finally enter Wolves' defensive third and create a moment of danger. The problem is that we only tried to do this on the wings. We almost never attempted the same kind of quick combinations through the middle of the park. That made our attacks very predictable because Wolves always knew where the danger was most likely going to be coming from. Moving on, and in the same sequence, we actually managed to win the ball back after our counter press. To be fair, that part of our game was quite decent for most of the match. Whenever we lost the ball, the players reacted quickly and tried to win it back straight away. But once we regained possession again, this is where the absence of Vertz really started to show. Here, Szoboszlai plays the ball to Salah and Frimpong immediately makes an underlapping run inside. That run once again shows the intention to raise the tempo and try something a bit more direct. The idea was good, the movement was there, but the move does not really lead to anything, and the ball eventually comes back to Szoboszlai. When you look at the situation at that moment, the real problem becomes very clear. There is almost no movement in the central areas to give Szoboszlai an option. Just look at where Gravenberch, Gakpo, and McAllister are standing. None of them are really moving to receive the ball or trying to create passing lanes. And that is the big issue. How are you supposed to break through a compact, low block if there is no movement in the middle of the pitch? Without players moving between the lines or showing for the ball, the player in possession simply has no options. When that happens, the only thing left to do is send the ball back out wide again. And once that keeps happening over and over, your attacks become very predictable. That is exactly what we saw in this game, and it is also why the absence of Vertz made such a big difference. He is usually the player who moves into those central pockets, asks for the ball, and helps connect the play. Without that presence, everything became much easier for Wolves to defend. Now, as we mentioned earlier, we're not saying that our football has been amazing whenever Vertz is on the pitch. That is not the point. The difference is that he usually gives us solutions in the middle of the pitch. His movement off of the ball inside the opponent's defensive block often creates space either for himself or for his teammates to use. He is constantly looking to move between the lines and receive the ball and connect the play. Even when he does not get the ball, his movement alone can drag defenders out of position and open small gaps. Without that kind of presence, the whole attack becomes more static. And that is exactly what we saw last night. Too many players standing still. Too few players trying to move into space, and almost no options in central areas. When everything looks that static, defending against it becomes very easy. Wolves could stay compact, keep their shape, and simply wait for us to move the ball out wide again. The second half did not really bring much improvement either. If anything, the only moment where we started to apply a bit more pressure was after Wolves scored their first goal. Suddenly there was a bit more urgency in our play, and we pushed forward more often. But at the same time, we also lost whatever control we had left in the game. The ball kept going from one end to the other with very little control in midfield, and in a strange way, the chaotic ending is exactly how we ended up conceding the second goal in the final few minutes. Alisson tried to clear the ball away, but the clearance went wrong and the ball stayed in a dangerous area. Wolves reacted quicker, the shot took a deflection, and just like that, the game was over. And that pretty much sums up what went wrong for us last night. The performance lacked movement, lacked ideas in central areas, and in the end, we paid the price for it. Without players offering solutions between the lines, our attacks became slow, predictable, and very easy to defend against. Now, the frustrating part is that this is a huge opportunity to close the distance in the race for the Champions League spots. With our direct rivals facing difficult games, this was the perfect moment to put the pressure on them. Instead, we walked away with nothing. The team will now have to react quickly because the season is reaching its most important stage. Dropping points against the team sitting at the bottom of the table is the kind of result that can come back to hurt you later on. But let us know what you think. What do you believe was the biggest problem in this performance? Let us know down there in the comment section below.